The 1970s muscle car war produced some terrifying machines, but few packed as much firepower as these. From massive Hemas to big block monsters, these cars were built around one obsession: raw American horsepower. And some of them were far more powerful than you might expect. In 1969, Chevrolet built a Camaro that wasn't just powerful, it was almost too extreme for the street. Meet the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, one of the most legendary muscle cars ever produced. Under the hood was an all-aluminum 427 cubic inch V8, officially rated at 430 horsepower. But that factory rating was notoriously conservative. In reality, the ZL1's engine was capable of producing well over 500 horsepower. And because the ZL1 used aluminum for both the block and cylinder heads, it was significantly lighter than a conventional big block. Only 69 ZL1 Camaros were built, making this monster incredibly rare. Today, the 1969 ZL1 is remembered as one of Chevrolet's ultimate factory-built muscle cars, a Camaro created with one mission: go brutally fast. In 1969, Ford created a Mustang so powerful and specialized that it barely felt like a normal street car. Meet the 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. Under the hood was a massive 429 cubic inch V8, officially rated at 375 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque. But the real purpose of this engine wasn't just street performance, it was built to dominate NASCAR. To fit the enormous engine, Ford had to send the Mustangs to Car Craft, where the cars were extensively modified to make room for the Boss 429. Only 859 Boss 429 Mustangs were produced in 1969, making them extremely rare. With its huge engine, aggressive stance, and racing-bred hardware, the Boss 429 became one of the most feared Mustangs of the muscle car era. This wasn't just a Mustang, it was a NASCAR engine disguised as a street car. The 1966 Charger arrived with a fastback roofline, hidden headlights, and enough attitude to make it clear Dodge wanted attention. But choosing the 426 Hemi changed the Charger completely. Under the hood was a 7.0-liter V8, producing a factory-rated 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. Its hemispherical combustion chambers and large valves helped the engine move air efficiently, giving it the kind of high RPM power that made the Hemi famous. The Charger also offered a 4-speed manual, turning that enormous V8 into a serious performance package. And there was another reason this combination mattered. The 426 Hemi helped establish the Charger as a genuine heavyweight in America's horsepower war. By the end of the decade, the Charger name would become synonymous with big block muscle, and the Hemi was a huge part of that reputation. Plymouth had a simple idea in 1968: build a muscle car that delivered serious speed without loading it down with luxury. That formula created the Plymouth Roadrunner 426 Hemi. Under the hood sat Chrysler's legendary 7.0-liter 426 Hemi 5.8, officially producing 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. With the right gearing and traction, this lightweight coupe had the hardware to run deep into the muscle car performance world. The Roadrunner's personality was just as unusual. Its name came from the famous cartoon character, and Plymouth even gave the car a distinctive beep-beep horn. Strip away the fancy extras, add a huge V8, and you got a car focused on one thing: straight-line performance. The result was a machine that helped define the era of affordable, no-nonsense American muscle. When Dodge launched the Challenger for 1970, it entered the muscle car war at exactly the right moment, and the R/T Hemi version went straight for the top. Under the hood was the mighty 426 Hemi 5.8, producing a factory-rated 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. With a 4-speed manual available, drivers could unleash that power through the rear wheels in a car built for straight-line acceleration. The Challenger also had the attitude to match. Its long hood, short deck, wide stance, and aggressive grille gave it an unmistakable presence. But the Hemi option came with a price. It was expensive, demanding, and relatively rare compared with ordinary Challenger models. That combination of big power, dramatic styling, and limited production is exactly why the 1970 Hemi Challenger remains one of the defining cars of the classic muscle era. Few cars captured the wild side of the 1970 muscle car era better than the Plymouth Hemi Cuda. The Cuda was already aggressive, but selecting the 426 Hemi turned it into something far more serious. The 7.0-liter V8 was factory-rated at 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque, sending its power through the rear wheels, and this engine came with a reputation to match its numbers. The Hemi's hemispherical combustion chambers and large valves helped it breathe efficiently at high engine speeds, making it exceptionally capable on the drag strip. Plymouth also gave the Cuda an unmistakable identity with its dramatic body lines, bold grille, and optional shaker hood that visibly surrounded the air intake. With very few Hemi-equipped examples built, the 1970 Hemi Cuda became both a performance icon and a highly prized collector car. Big block power wasn't limited to Chevrolet, Ford, and Chrysler. Buick had its own heavyweight, and it was surprisingly sophisticated for a muscle car. The 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1 packed a massive 455 cubic inch V8, producing 360 horsepower and an astonishing 510 pound-feet of torque. That torque figure was the real story. It gave the GSX Stage 1 tremendous low-end punch, making it brutally effective when accelerating from a stop. Buick also fitted the car with heavy-duty components, distinctive GSX graphics, hood-mounted tachometer, and performance-oriented suspension. Only a small number were equipped with the Stage 1 package, making surviving examples highly desirable today. The GSX Stage 1 proved that you didn't need the biggest horsepower number to deliver enormous performance. The torque could do the talking. Oldsmobile's answer to the muscle car war came with a combination of brute force and surprisingly refined engineering. The 1970 Oldsmobile 442W30 carried a 455 cubic inch V8, officially rated at 370 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. That enormous torque figure gave the car explosive acceleration, especially at lower speeds. The W30 package went beyond simply adding a bigger engine. It included a more aggressive camshaft, performance-focused induction, special exhaust components, and suspension upgrades designed to handle the extra muscle. Visually, the W30 stood out with its distinctive red inner fenders, performance hood, and bold 442 styling. And while some muscle cars relied almost entirely on straight-line power, the W30 brought a more complete performance package to the fight. It was Oldsmobile's way of proving that muscle could have both manners and menace. The GTO Judge was Pontiac's answer to a new generation of younger buyers who wanted their muscle car to look as wild as it performed. For 1969, the top-tier Ram Air 4 engine transformed the Judge into a serious performance machine. Its 400 cubic inch V8 was officially rated at 370 horsepower and 445 pound-feet of torque, but the engine featured high-flow cylinder heads, a special high-lift camshaft, and aggressive induction designed for serious performance. The Ram Air 4 also received round-port cylinder heads, a feature that separated it from Pontiac's milder 400s. Then came the attitude, bold stripes, rear spoiler, hood scoops, and the famous The Judge graphics made this GTO almost impossible to mistake for anything else. With limited Ram Air 4 production, this combination became one of the most desirable versions of the GTO. It had the looks to grab attention and the hardware to back them up. Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454 LS6, 1970, shot 45 seconds. If one engine represented the peak of Chevrolet's classic muscle car horsepower war, the 454 LS6 deserves a place near the top. In 1970, Chevrolet dropped this massive power plant into the Chevelle SS, creating one of the most formidable street machines of the era. The 7.4-liter, 454 cubic inch V8 was officially rated at 450 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. That made the LS6 the highest horsepower engine Chevrolet offered that year. But the numbers don't tell the whole story. High-flow cylinder heads, a high-lift camshaft, solid lifters, and a high-performance intake helped the LS6 breathe and deliver its power. The Chevelle itself added the perfect platform, a relatively compact body wrapped around an enormous big block. For 1970, Chevrolet didn't simply build a fast Chevelle, it created a benchmark for big block muscle. V